Alright, Hunter x Hunter. It's 148 episodes long. Each episode is about 20 minutes if you don't watch the intro and outro. That's about 50 hours to watch the entire thing. Is it worth it? Let's find out. Hunter x Hunter has a lot of really good things going for it. The animation is great, and the plot is great, and the soundtrack is great, but there's one thing that the series relies on more than anything else: the characters. The show boasts a wide range of characters and character archetypes. New characters are introduced every arc, and there's a character almost everyone will find interesting. In the first season alone, we're introduced to quite the cast of characters. We've got a metaphorical orphan, a child assassin, a literal orphan, a teenager, and, well, let's not talk about this one. It is very easy to grow attached to many of these characters because so many of them are developed and multidimensional. Watching the more prominent characters evolve over time is almost inspiring, as who they are at the beginning is incomparable to who they are at the end. These characters are the driving motivation behind the plot, which constantly expands as the series continues. Hunter x Hunter is made up of 6 seasons or arcs, depending on what platform you're watching on. These arcs range from 12 episodes long to over 60 episodes in length. As mentioned before, each of these arcs introduces new characters as well as new lore for the expansive world that Hunter x Hunter takes place in. Each arc also has a pretty distinct vibe to it, as the arcs vary in how serious they are. It makes sense that the seriousness would change based on the arc, as the subject of each arc is vastly different from the one before it. Could you imagine if an arc about a video game island was as serious as one about fascist ants? These arcs are obviously vastly different in progression, but the quality is pretty consistent all the way through. Some arcs are better than others, but it's mostly subjective. I've heard arguments for every arc being somebody's favorite. Personally, my favorite arc is the subscribing to this channel arc. It's short and sweet, but it could really help a lot if you decided to do it. I would really appreciate it if you could just take a second and subscribe. Anyway, a major theme within almost every arc is training. If you like watching people get stronger, then you'll love this show. Even if you don't, the conflicts that develop over the course of the show make it worth it. Conflict is a central piece of Hunter x Hunter. Whether it's an argument between friends or a fight for the fate of the world, most conflicts are meaningful and thoroughly developed. Every time a conflict arises, you can literally feel the suspension in the air thanks to the phenomenal voice acting and soundtrack. The way Hunter x Hunter holds suspension is attempted by many anime, but many fail to hold your attention in the way this show can. And when the tension finally reaches a boiling point, you are in for a treat. The fights in Hunter x Hunter are phenomenal. The animation quality starts off strong and only improves as the series progresses. As with the general conflicts, none of the fights feel meaningless. They're all important to the plot in hand, and they're all very entertaining to watch. Like most anime, there is a decent amount of dialogue over the majority of the fight scenes. While most of the time it aids in the action, I do feel like there are actually a couple of times it takes away from it. It's hard to really specify without spoiling, but it does feel like there are some times when the narrator is just overbearing and honestly unnecessary, to the point where it really retracts from the sequences that are going on. However, it only occurs in a handful of episodes, so I don't really think it's a big deal. The last thing I want to mention before we get into some of the issues with the series is the soundtrack. The soundtrack to Hunter x Hunter is amazing. It slaps harder than those professional slap fighters. Every piece is tastefully used in context and is enjoyable as a standalone piece. There's a huge variety of music, with an emphasis on classical and romantic music. So when it comes to a soundtrack, there's usually 2 major parts that will make a piece stand out: the notes and rhythms on the page, as in the orchestration, and the way it's performed by the performers. In this case, the soundtrack excels on both fronts. There are pieces that are performed so woefully, and there are pieces that are performed so joyfully. The emotional range of the music and the musicians is rare and exciting to find in anime, and I think it's one of the best soundtracks created for anime thus far. Up to this point, I've been pretty positive about this show, but it does have one major drawback, one major turnaway, which is a little bit justifiable. Hunter x Hunter is not done. And at this rate, it might not ever be. The creator has been on hiatus from this work for over 120 weeks. There has not been a new chapter since 2019. So if you're looking for a complete story with a satisfying ending and a nice bow all like wrapped up neat, this might not be a great choice for you, especially with the time commitment that's necessary. That being said, each arc does have a satisfying ending in some capacity or another, and I think the way they created a conclusion for the anime was not bad by any means. But the overall story just has no formal conclusion. Like I said earlier, I really think this is the only red flag or drawback when it comes to this series. If this isn't something that bothers you, go ahead, and even if it is, I still think it's worth watching for sure. So do I think Hunter x Hunter is worth watching? Yeah, even though the story isn't complete, it's still extremely entertaining and emotional. Overall, it has become one of my favorite shows, and many people share the same feeling. Hunter x Hunter is critically acclaimed by watchers, as it currently sits at the 6th highest rated show on my anime list, and it has multiple episodes in IMDb's top 50 episodes. I think watching this show is very fulfilling and very entertaining, and I 100% think it is worth your time. Thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed, please subscribe down below. It really helps out more than you know, and let me know what you think in the comments down below. This is the first time I've done a video like this, so I would appreciate any and all feedback. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time.